The Dimapur police have taken action following threats made by self-proclaimed Nagaland Transparency, Public Rights Advocacy and Direct Action Organization. The unregistered organization had issued a warning on June 30, vowing to storm and set fire to the official quarters of all 60 legislators if the 14th Nagaland Legislative Assembly pass a bill in support of the Uniform Civil Code. After conducting a thorough investigation, the Dimapur police have arrested 5 individuals in connection with the case and are now facing charges of criminal intimidation, conspiracy to commit crimes against legislators and threatening to destroy government properties with the intent to provoke a breach of peace. The arrests were made following the registration of a case at the East Police Station in Dimapur. To discuss on this matter, we'll be joined by our Associate Editor Al from the newsroom. Hello Al, can you hear me? Hi Al, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Before we proceed with the discussion, first of all, Al, what are your thoughts on this incident, the incident of an organization threatening arson? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when we first received the press release, I thought it was a joke actually. And then I went on to Twitter and my timeline was full of this particular press release from this organization that was threatening to burn down the house of our ministers. So it was a very weird and a very serious situation, you know, having to read through the statement of an organization that claims to represent a noble cause. And on the other hand, you read the press statement and it is so full of violence, and it didn't even sound like the organization's leadership was showing a culture of dialogue and progressive engagement. It was full of, you know, I mean, I don't even know how to express it, but the first thought that came to my mind was, it is understandable that this organization might be representing something that might have been bothering the people for a long time, so you can understand their frustration, one thing. But second, if you are representing a community, especially in this time and age where education and cultural leaderships are integral to solving complex issues that is affecting the society, we need a little more cultural interaction in this regard. So I can understand their frustration in a way, and I think that is what most people in Nagaland are facing right now. But no proper person in his right mind would engage in issues with such a representation, whether it is in thought or words. So I think the police taking action speaks for itself. I'm not saying that the cause that the organization represented was not justified. What I'm saying is, I think the police action somehow in a way explains why certain kinds of behavior and certain kinds of speech are not acceptable in our modern society too.
Adel, another startling fact is the emergence of various organizations. Is this a dangerous trend, and do you think it will divide the society more?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how many organizations the Naga people have now, and if you look at the trend, we have organization for every sector of the industry, every section of the community, from the village down to the clan to the even land areas within regions again. We have a lot of organizations, and I think it is time for the government and the authorities to seriously consider a legislation that is very specific to the special conditions of Nagaland, to create a legislation that will set out a list of regulations, guidelines, and even performance-based merit system that will be used as a regulation when you approve or disapprove any new applications for organization. Because the way Nagaland has been going, and the fact that people now call Nagaland the land of not festival but land of unions and organizations, speak a lot about us, because when we create organizations, we are not only creating goal-specific platforms, we are also creating opportunities for divisions, because just recently in the state assembly elections, there was a group of people who were voting for a particular candidate, and it seems that this group of people who were supporting a particular candidate got into a fight, and the group was divided again just because they happened to be members of two different organizations that they were not political, two different organizations that this group had problems with before the elections began. So it is like that. We could have an organization for a specific cause, but then somewhere along the way, because society is connected, we are a network organism, we somehow will meet at a place where our goals and our definitions of what we want to do for the society, they will ultimately meet. So we have too many organizations, unions, associations and federations now out to. So I think the government should seriously consider a regulation. Of course, the Registration of Societies Act is there, but these are very basic. It does not tell upon the upon the objectives, and also regulation of behavior and conduct of the organization in that regard. So I think the Nagaland Legislative Assembly can think of something in that matter, so that we can remove all the old organizations that no longer add value to the community, and also from now on we prevent any organization from just forming itself and causing problems for not only the government but also for the community.
But stressing more on that, according to your understanding, what has led to the creation of so many organizations, and why do you think it's so easy? What makes it so easy for organizations or for new unions to be formed?
That's a complex question, and I think the answer will need even a more complex answer in that regard. But personally, I feel that, like I said earlier in this conversation, I can understand the frustration of the people, the organization. I am sorry, I'm not able to list out, spell out all the names of the organization there, but I understand their frustration, why they want to go so hard at the government and the authorities in the pursuit of their objectives for transparency, for a corruption-free governance. So I can understand their frustration, but then again, to be fair to the people, it is also not unjustified, because Nagaland has become a very toxic community, and this toxicity is being fed by factors that are not always political. There are a lot of pressure, there are a lot of stresses that the people have to fight with at all levels. There are corruption issues, you have unemployment issues, you have stresses from your economic life, you have problems in regard to how the police administrates the community, you have traffic problems, you have water locking problems, electricity, water. When you add up all the stresses in your life, within your community, especially in your social and political life, then these symptoms will be represented, and even studies have shown this. There are studies and data that says that violence and riots, the creation of new organizations, some of them radical organizations, can all be traced to the down to your individual life. For example, if a small community has too many unemployed youths, the stress of being unemployed, the problems they face will be manifested in some form, such as increase in criminal activities, for example, increase in aggression towards parents and families, increase in negative behavior. So what we're seeing here today, the problem why we're having too many organizations is that, first thing, to be very fair, the lack of governance at the welfare level, where each citizen's needs are met or each of their problems are addressed at the individual and social level. First thing, the lack of proper governance that reaches the grassroots. And second is our dependence not on the police and the courts, but our dependence on the community leadership. For example, there was a time people used to complain that the Naga Hoho never used to take up issues of unemployment. And this is real, okay? And the Naga Hoho was also accused of not taking up issues in regard to corruption. So I think it was during 2009 or 2010, during that era. So when you look at the situations like that, you will be forced to create a platform where your voice will be heard, Atu. So that is why instead of depending on the government, instead of depending on the courts and on the police, we depend on the organizations that represent the voice of the community in the NSF, CNSA, Nagaho. And when they don't take our voice into consideration, then we feel neglected. So, okay, now I'm going to create my own platform and I am going to raise the issues that are affecting me. So that is one of the reasons, primary reasons why I believe too many people are creating unions and associations in the name of this and that cause, and also too many Facebook groups and too many WhatsApp groups.
Right, moving on, should there be a legislation to regulate the creation of such organizations?
Yeah, definitely. The press release from the police said that this particular organization was not registered.
Right.
So it shows that there is no mechanism for the government of Nagaland or the Dimapur police or Kohima or district administrations. They have no mechanisms to check who is creating what organization for whatever cause or whatever objective here. There's no one to check this movement. So in order for us to be able to, and of course too many membership drives, I'm tired of all these membership fees that you have to pay for this organization, this union and association. Anyway, the point is we need a mechanism from the district level down to the block level, so that we will also keep our community members in check, so that that particular platform they create actually will add value to the community, will add value to the welfare of the citizens. They will add value to the health of the society in general. So definitely we need legislation from the assembly, we need regulatory mechanism from the district administration, and I think to a certain level this is going to help a lot of our citizens in the community who are members of 3,000 associations.
Thank you so much, El. I think that suffices to our this thing right now. Thank you so much for your inputs. I think that's all we'll have.
Thank you for having me, Atu.